Hello fellow dragons, it's Shane from Astral Dragon Gaming, and this is my review of Unheard, a new game done by Next Studio, the company that brought Iris Fall and Death Coming. It's a bit of an unusual game, but we'll get into the details about that in a second. So, basically, this is a game where you will listen to the audio track and follow the movement paths of a particular group of people and solve a crime. And in many respects, this is not a unique game, but it's also not exactly the normal sort of game. In many respects, it reminds me of a radio show from the old 1920s, where they would have a murder mystery and you would listen to it on the wireless. But this is not that much. It's a bit more grisly at points, and it's a bit more sort of heart-wrenching, where it leads from sort of one crime, which is a bombing, and then it moves on to a totally different crime in a mental institution. And it's all the audio track and everything. But we'll get to the visuals first. Visually, it's a really simple sort of blueprint sort of designed idealism. You control the ability to move from any part in the actual map that you're given, and you will be able to listen to everyone in each particular room. So it's basically a little sprite of you as a black image, and then everyone else that wanders around and is talking is just this little round bubble that has no name or any identification. You have to actually identify them through sound audio. And that's the kind of crux of this game. It's a massive whodunit game where you play these different roles. It's interesting and it's kind of creepy at the same time. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, you get into this game and there are so many strange things that are happening all at once. It's like it's a whole lot of different wheels all moving at the same time to move to the one event that eventually causes someone's death. And it's very interesting and it's very creepy. And I kind of like it, and I kind of have to step back after each case when I played it, because there are so many different nuances. The first two missions, fairly simple, and they make sense, but then it moves on to murder, and then it moves on to deception, and it's really sort of mind-twistingly bizarre. You have, every time after you finish a mission, you're brought back to a sort of interview room where a lady is telling you about the different things, and then it starts talking about being helpful after learning all the investigation skills and everything. It's got so many different levels going on at once. It's very interesting, and I can't really spoil the game a huge amount, but listening to it is really what this game's all about. It recommends to listen through headphones, but even just listening through the speaker itself is phenomenally interesting. The isolation of the sound itself is really good, because if you don't walk enough distance close enough to someone, you may not hear what they're listening to, even if you're in the same room. So it's got that sort of audio isolation between things. The voice acting, I actually really love the voice acting in this. There are multiple people that have repeated roles after roles, depending on which particular thing. But when you walk into one of these missions and there's like 12 to 15 different voices happening all at the one instant, it's very, very interesting. It's so sort of engrossing. You're following the story and you're trying to figure out who did this, who did that, and all sorts of things. And I really am awed by it. The music is disturbing, I think is the best word to describe it. It's designed to keep you off kilter. It's not designed so that you can just stay in the moment and everything. And I think the most shocking things about this game is the silence when you are waiting for audio to happen. Now, there is a nice visual cue with the audio, which is you'll have the bubble and then a little sort of spike talking sort of thing. Like if you've ever used the visualization on any music player on a PC or other sort of system, and it just ebbs and flows around the circle. That's pretty much what you're seeing, is this spike of talking marks as you listen to the individuals. Now, the story is basically this agency, whatever they are. I don't know if it's a good or bad agency. Like, it's very ambiguous at the start. It's sort of more, oh, you know, we want to see if you want to learn about this particular new way of investigating. You know, you have to listen to it. And it's very interesting. Would you like to participate? Fantastic. Now, sit here and listen to this and find out who did it. And that's the entire premise of the game. And it's really engrossing as you play the game. And it's really a fantastic sort of miasma of different things. And when you solve the crime straight off the bat from just using your own deductive skills and what you've gained from listening to the different people, because you can jump back and forth through the track as it's playing. So you can jump to different points in the rooms, you can jump to different points in the sound. So if you saw two bubbles that you identified as A and B, and they're hiding off in a corner at you weren't in when you were listening to a different sound part of the sound file, then you can walk over to that people, scrub it straight back to that time point, and you can listen to that. And it's really a great sort of scaling sort of idea where the more rooms you get, the more moving pieces you get, the more people you get, the more you have to sort of learn all the different pathways and things. Like, I've found the best way is to stick with one person, learn their name, and then follow them all the way around. Once you've followed them, then come back and you'll start developing different people and understanding who's who, and then you can link them to what situational thing is happening and whatnot. And it really is a great sort of whodunit game. And it's probably won't have a huge amount of replay from value, because once you know who's done all the different crimes, it's fine. But just for a single player game, like this is like Iris Falls, their latest game that they produced, where it's not so much the replayability, it's more the ability to gain knowledge and gain interesting things about a particular thing without actually being the main reason why you're playing the game is to finish the game. No, you're playing the game for the experience that the game provides. And Next Studio Gaming, they're doing a really fantastic job. They're producing games that are really very engrossing, and it's the kind of game that you will leave for a couple of years and then you'll look at it and go, oh yeah, I enjoyed that, and you come back and you can play it again, and if you haven't remembered it well, it reignites that sort of spark of interesting things or the nostalgia of when you were playing the game. So look, hats off to them, because it's really an interesting game and I really enjoyed it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you get a chance to play Unheard, because it really is an experience in itself, and even just to listen to the different sort of crimes that happen, it's great because it brings back the old days of the wireless and interesting things that come from listening to an audio sort of event happening and not actually having the full visuals to see all the grisly details. It's a more interesting thing. I've been Shane from Astral Dragon Gaming, and if you hit the like button, that would help out immensely. And if you really enjoyed the content, please hit a subscribe and you'll be staying up to date with all my content. And make sure you hit the bell icon, because otherwise YouTube does nothing, which is not a big surprise, because you know, YouTube has a massive algorithm that seems to be dealing with everyone else's problems. But other than that, I hope you're enjoying your day, and I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.
You stole it! Hand it over! Jesus, fine, take it! It ain't worth a shit anyway!
Good work. Looks like you're getting the hang of this. Before we go any further, I should inform you our acoustic detective system does have potential side effects. For example, you may start hearing voices as the test continues. There's nothing to worry about, I can assure you. When the exam is finished, depending on the outcome, we'll provide any additional treatment you might need. Now on to the next scenario. To further test your abilities, we'll try a higher profile case, one I'm sure you remember from the news.